Hi guys. Okay, so this is part 2 of Infinite Jest. I'm kind of making these videos impromptu, so they're just kind of going to be randomly placed. I think it's just going to be based off of when I feel I need to check in with myself on this book and kind of give an idea of where I'm at with it and how I'm feeling about it along the way. I think I kind of mentioned that in a previous video, is that this is about the journey for me and not so much the destination, although getting to the destination is pretty cool and I am excited for that. So I thought I'd break this down a few different ways. First, I want to go over my thoughts so far, like how I'm feeling at it. I'm at page 198, so about 200 pages in this really thick and pretty dense book. And I want to kind of gather my own thoughts about it as I go. Okay, so first and foremost is how I'm reading the book, because when I first start a book, I usually have no idea what I'm doing. It takes me a little bit to get my footing and figure out what works best for me and my relationship with the book. So just kind of, I guess, feel it for yourself. I always say just go with your gut, go with your instinct when it comes to reading and how to read. That's how to read it and what's best for you. So in my previous book, I think I maybe talked a little bit about my annotations that I am kind of writing down. But now that I'm at page almost 200 here, I have a better idea of what I'm writing down. I'm not jotting down every single character that comes up, but I might if they seem really interesting or fascinating, or if I think they might stick around for a little bit. So I'm doing that to some degree, and just jotting down what I think about them or what they've shown me in that part of the book so far. So like, let's look at my last one, for example. So I don't want to give away spoilers, so if this feels like spoilers to you, just fast forward. I'm probably gonna talk about it for about a minute here. So Madame Psychosis was the newest character that came in here, and I just kind of listed what she does and why, or why one of her characters is obsessed with her. And I talked about the next chapter, what was going on in the Ennet drug house. And that was kind of interesting. So I'll kind of just jot my thoughts along the way and kind of just recap almost what I just read in a very brief summary, just because it like sinks in my head a lot better before I move on. So it helps me to just kind of process what I read. Before moving on. What else? Okay, the other thing I thought that was interesting is like reading length and how much I could read. At first it was about like 10 pages a day, but I've been finding myself able to do about at least 15 to 20 now for the past week or so, which has been good. I can kind of take in a little bit more than I thought initially. I think it just took me a while to get my footing and just to get into a rhythm with the book. But now it's like, oh, I'm kind of getting a lay of the land. I'm getting an idea of who these people are, what we're kind of talking about, and all that. So let's talk about the writing next. So I think in the first video, I really just gushed a lot about how well David Foster Wallace writes, and that it really read like a movie, like almost like a script. That's what it felt like. And I feel like it's really remained that way consistently throughout. He is such a fascinating writer because you're talking about such a deep and heavy subject when it comes to like the drugs, or even with the tennis, like the instructors there and the kids who are in this world of tennis, and how like what a hard life it is for them. And so you can kind of like empathize why they're into drugs and why why this is happening, all this pressure that's put on them. And so it really, it's a very heavy book in a lot of ways. Like, I don't think I've gone through one sitting where I haven't felt sad in some way. Yeah, I like David Foster Wallace too. You could just, and I've watched a few interviews with him and stuff as I've been reading the book, but I mean, you can tell that this guy, it's not coming from secondhand information. This really feels like it's coming from something that he has lived and he's gone through. So you can really sense that and feel in his writing. And I love that. I love a very like heartfelt, honest writer, even if he has to say some of the hard things and the things that are, tough to hear. So yeah, I'm gonna touch on one more thing and then we'll end here. Okay, the other thing, so I kind of want to go back to like my reading, like how I'm reading this. So something I've been doing with this book specifically is I've actually been setting timers. So I'll set it for 30 minutes and I don't like check my phone. I don't get distracted by anything for 30 minutes straight. And usually I'll end up reading more than that. Most of the time I'm reading this book, I would say it can be 30. It's usually between 30 to 50 minutes at a time. But if it goes above 30 minutes, my timer, then I will just reset it again. But I find that this 30-minute lapse for me of like just being undistracted and really focused makes me get in the zone. And so I don't really get distracted as naturally after that. So just getting in that rhythm has been really helpful. Because for this book, I want to just keep going. I don't want to get distracted along the way. Not that I want to for any other books, but this one specifically, I feel like it requires my undivided attention and focus. And then what I'll do after that is I have this reading log. And so every day, and I find, actually one more thing, I find that reading this for myself in the morning is like so much better than reading at night. My focus is better in the morning, so I'm able to retain and like really read much better in the morning. So for, again, a book like this, I need that. So I do it before work. So then I'll write in my reading log, like what page I got to, what day it is, and then how long it took me to read that day. Okay, so that kind of wraps it up. Thanks for anybody there's a few people reading along with me. And thank you for anyone who has messaged me or been in the comments and said that you are now willing to read because of me. I feel like that's like the greatest compliment ever. And so, yeah, I really appreciate that. And I don't know when I'll do my next one. Could be another week, could be another 2 weeks. Again, I'm going to kind of play it by ear. But until then, have a great day.